Hello everybody, what's happening? My name's Neil. Welcome along to Midlife Motors. And well, we've been away on holiday. Oh yes, we have. But we're back now. So this is a little segment I'm hoping to bring to the channel a little bit more often and hopefully get some other people involved. Now today, just to explain quickly, I used to enjoy reading magazines back in the day when they would compare cars with cars and go through certain criteria. Today, if you had £20,000 burning a hole in your pocket, would you buy a sports car or would you buy a hot hatch? That's what we're going to set out to try and answer. That's the question we're going to try and answer today. So we're going to go through looks inside and outside. We're going to go through performance, gearbox, engine, noise, that sort of stuff, handling and ride, obviously. Then we're going to look at desirability. That's going to be a personal thing, but we'll try and maybe throw a little bit of practicality into that as well. And then we'll make a choice at the end. How do I find this car? Let's think of the practicality of it. Well, there's not a lot of space in here. It's going to lose out on that, but it has all the bits and pieces that you need. I've got the heated seats. I've got in a Mazda you get a great sound system, the Bose sound system, speakers in the headrests even in this model, so everything like that is really good. That from that sort of from that side of things, the interior of the car really matches the outside and makes it a really nice place to be. It feels quite special sat in here. I've got nice bits of Alcantara on the dashboard, bit of painted metalwork on the inside. I think the hot hatch is going to struggle to match how special in here feels. Handling and ride, okay. Now we're in a small car, so it does feel the bumps. This one's got a slightly lowered suspension setup on it, albeit it's a Mazda approved kit, but you can probably see me here. We do bounce around a little bit. We haven't got any modes, so we can't ease the car off. It is as stiff as it is, whether you're driving down the motorway, wanting to take it easy, or whether you're batting around the back road and you want the car to be nice and taut. So that's where it's going to struggle a little bit. Other than that, I think from an engine point of view, from a noise point of view, this car's not great. This car's not good. Even from startup, you know, sometimes it's nice to get in a car, fire it up, and it sounds fantastic. This car, no. It's quite nice when you get in. You're met by a start button, that makes you feel a little bit special. You're sat in these Recaro seats, which are quite huggy. That makes it feel a little bit special as well. So there's some ticks as there's some crosses. It'll be interesting to see how the hot hatch compares. The sports car is rear wheel drive, not front wheel drive, manual gearbox, not automatic. So round these corners up here, is it just going to be more satisfying? Are we going to enjoy being in the manual car more? And also, I think the sports car is going to just have a little bit more grip over all in all. So I'm going to go cautious because the roads are still a little bit damp. Much more control, I'd say, having a manual gearbox. You can match the revs easily. You can start to build up speed and carry it, so you don't have to hit the brakes hard. You can just cover them into this one, for example, and as you get round, well, the tail of the hot hatch is not going to move around and give you a little bit of excitement like that does. So this is where the sports car, in my world, wins all day long. When it's not about straight line performance, when it's just about you, the car, trying to match your revs, trying to auto blip and trying to get on the throttle. I mean, these MX5s are good at that. We are comparing a particularly good sports car at this price point. The hot hatch is really going to have to up its game when we get to this part of the challenge. Engine wise, we have to keep the revs high. We don't have any low down grunt. I think that's where the hot hatch with its turbo power is gonna really fire you out of the corner. So in this car, we're relying on carrying the corner speed. I think in the hot hatch, we're going to have good drive out of the corners. We're going to be able to get on the throttle nice and early and pull the nose around the apex. Still quite wet though. Been off camber. You've got to be alert in one of these. You've got to be alert in one of these, especially in the wet. Car number 2, and straight away feels very different. I'm sitting on this car, not in this car. I'm sitting on comfy chairs, I'd have to say, but it just doesn't, it's a Polo. It's just a Polo with a few snazzy bits in it. The snazzy bits are quite good, I'll give it that, but we don't have any of the Alcantara dash. It's all plastic, nothing's painted in here. It's very much plasticky. A little bit of leather here and there, but that is what it is. The digital dash though, fantastic. If we switch the media on, it all lights up nicely. We can change the we can change the views for what we want. We can have boost gauges. I think if you press, let's switch this on. I think if you press car, there we go. We've got performance monitors as well, which is quite good. We don't have any of that in the Mazda, so that's all more modern. It's just more modern. It's what you're paying for. Lovely panoramic roof as well. I do like that, but I'm very much sitting in a Polo. I don't really feel like I'm sitting in anything special, albeit it's got some special touches. However, as well, in this car, you can change the modes. If I press this button here, it will tell us that we are currently in normal mode, and in normal mode it rides really nicely. It's really smooth. It does beat the sports car. It does beat the Mazda 4 just normal driving. If we then put the car into we'll then put the car, because we're going to go up the hill and do the same bit, we'll then put the car in sports mode, and things do change. You hear the exhaust note there. I'm now changing gear myself on this paddle DSG type gearbox. I prefer a manual, but these are very, very, very good. The only thing you have to kind of get your head around with these is there's no engine braking, but apart from that, you can't really knock them around town. Practicality wise, it is better. It is more convenient. All in fourth gear, and it revs quite well too. It's quite a lazy engine, but it does rev quite cleanly. You don't have to use a lot of revs because you can just ride the wave of torque. I mean, in the Mazda through here, I'd be leaving it in third gear to do its thing. In this car, I'm just using the torque in fourth gear. Impressive, impressive. And the suspension is cushioning the bumps really well. Right, some slower corners here. We met a cyclist this way last time. Some slower corners here, so we'll see how it copes with them. But it's not understeering. The one thing I haven't got used to really with these gearboxes is the lack of engine braking. Oh yes, I got on the throttle really early there. Just carry a bit of throttle through the corner to keep it stable. And it auto blips for you. You don't have to try and heel and toe. It does it all for you. So it keeps the engine and the gearbox and everything nice and check. Tight corner this one. This is where in the Mazda I really couldn't push on this corner because the back just, see you can there. The front was just a little bit wide, but it was all manageable. I thought the driving experience wouldn't be quite so close. I thought it would be very much a win for the MX5. The Polo. Impressive. One of the criteria was looks, and this is where I think the Mazda wins. Unfortunately, Polo, although you're a good looking car now, I like your fancy sunroof and your wheels and the red touches, the GTI, I think it's grown into a nice looking car, but this car just ticks all the boxes for me. I love the color, I love the wheels, I love the sort of haunched front arches. You see that as you look down the bonnet when you're driving, and I like the sort of bulbous rear ones that you see when you're driving as well. And despite its age, it just really is. This is a bit of a timeless design. I think Mazda have really clicked well with this one, and the fastback look, I do like that. Interior wise, again, I think it's another win to the Mazda. I mean, it's got an interior really which is much better materials, much better finish, feels much more special place to be, although it doesn't have a glove box in there, so practicality wise this car wins by miles. We won't even talk about boots, but in here a bit dull, a bit plasticky, but the virtual dash and the infotainment Volkswagen, that gets a thumbs up from me, I'd have to confess. Now we come on to performance, and the Polo's got it in spades. It's significantly faster, and I thought the driving experience would have been closer. Over damp conditions like we had today, this car would not keep up. Don't get me wrong, we kind of enjoyed the feeling the back end move around and what have you, but for out and out performance, and then you add in running costs as well, this doesn't get much worse miles per gallon than the Mazda as well. It's gearbox, the fact that it can be sort of Jekyll and Hyde, it can be two cars, you can put it in comfort, you can drive it as an automatic, or you can switch it into sport mode, and it does go bonkers. What would that thing be like with a remap? God knows. Okay, now we're into handling and ride. Now the ride in the Polo, it can be adjusted. That's a good thing. It makes it a lot less harsh than the Mazda. But the handling, today, I think the Polo probably won, but I've driven both of these cars in when it's been dry, and the Mazda does give. It gives you much more feedback through the steering wheel. I mean, what is handling anyway? I'm not sure anybody can particularly describe it, but I think it's just how hard you can lean on the car. On the Polo today we didn't really see it, but when it gets dry you can really start pushing that car, whereas this one starts to understeer. If it had a differential on the front of it, maybe that would balance things up a bit, but this round goes to the Mazda. 2-1. Next we're going to look at the desirability and the practicality. Well, in practicality terms, that Polo is a good car. Desirability wise, I mean, this is personal. I prefer a sports car to a hot hatch. Have done all my life working up through cars, but a hot hatch you cannot deny, I'm struggling to say hot hatch, cannot deny, ticks an awful lot of boxes. This one though, it just ticks one in particular, that special feeling box, that special when you sit in it, when you look at it. I think I just have to give this round to this car. I think that makes it 3-1. Well, there we go, a win for the Mazda. I'm not really sure that's a surprise. I think I more or less gave that away at the beginning of the video, but I quite enjoyed doing that. I quite enjoyed. Hope you did too. If you did, if you can give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below, I would appreciate that. Next time, this is a bit of a shout. This is a little bit of a request. The MR2, I'd love to do a comparison between the MR2 and an MX5, but not this MX5, an MX5 of a similar era, if you like. So if you've got a Mark II or a Mark 2.5, 1.8 would be best, but not essential. Give us a shout up if you'd like to go head to head, if you'd like to go Mazda against Toyota. I'd kind of be batting for, I don't know if I would be pro MR2, but pro MX. I need somebody in the middle who's being partial. So if you're that person, if you can give me a shout out, I would appreciate that. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.